You know, the whole thing about children is they can't hide their excitement, can they? I'm feeling like that giddy child. What makes this Spitfire so good? The fundamentals are all absolutely correct.
Yeah.
That smell of rubber and oil.
He's sniffing it now.
Wowza. Absolutely phenomenal. Unbelievable.
Well, Jim, what have we here?
Well, it's a Spitfire Mark IX. It's not a Mark I, it's a Mark IX.
Yeah.
And it's a very special one because this is one of the most original warbirds flying, because obviously a lot of them are completely restored. And
By restored, you mean like
completely rebuilt.
Completely rebuilt?
From scratch.
From scratch, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, there is a Spitfire flying which is famously being completely recreated from one rivet, original rivet. And that's it, but not with this. This is almost entirely original. It's a victorious fighter plane as well. It's shot down a number of enemy planes. It was also one of the first two-seater ones, so adapted post-war.
Right. So the Mark I is like an 800 horsepower engine?
No, it's a bit more than that. It's a lot like, yeah, it's about 1100, something like that. But this is about 1550 or something like that. You know, so it's quite a lot more. 4 props on it rather than 3. Different tailplane. The Mark I had a kind of sort of a rounder tailplane. Yeah. But fundamentals the same. I mean, the cockpit looks the same.
A lot of it is the same. So I mean, one of the interesting things about aircraft in the design of the 30s and built in the 40s is there's fabric everywhere.
Yep.
And to the uninitiated,
yep,
the rudder and the tailplanes, they're coated in fabric. And on the Mark I, so were the ailerons, weren't they? On the wing.
Yes.
These were fabric, and one of the improvements they felt they had to make was make these with metal so they could cope with the stress of aerobatic flying more.
But the thing about all these Spitfires, they look like Spitfires.
Yeah.
You can sort of upgun them, you can give them bigger engines, but they still look like a Spitfire because they've got that beautiful shape of the cowling, even though it's slightly different. They've got this sort of slight bubble canopy, and of course they've got the elliptical wings.
He really loves Spitfires.
But you know, it's amazing to be standing by it, and it's got this.
He's sniffing it now.
Yeah. You know, it's just that smell of rubber and oil, and sweat, and tears and blood.
Sweat and tears and blood.
So not only is it a special sound, it's a special smell as well, and it's just special. The whole thing about the Spitfire is special.
Some cutting analysis there.
Incisive. So if I need to go, it's that one.
That's the one, yeah.
Just pull it.
Yes. We won't need that.
No. You know, the whole thing about children is they can't hide their excitement, can they? You know, they just do things as it comes into their head, and you know, I'm feeling like that giddy child. I mean, it's because of what this is and what this plane has seen. This particular plane, what this plane has seen. And it's what it represents, and it's what it symbolises. And the thought of actually going airborne in one of these things, I mean, you know, I pay good money just to watch them from the ground. So to actually be going up in one is an amazing thing. Really, just incredible.
The usual sort of, it's the smell in here, really. It's setting the vibes up nicely for a trip into the clouds. I don't know how I feel. I feel like I want to get on with it, it's God's honest truth. We'll see in a bit. The thing is, these aircraft, they're all about power, aren't they? As well as about being maneuverability, it's about the power of this engine.
It's what's tucked away in this engine cowling at the front, this nose of the Spitfire. And of course it is the Rolls-Royce Merlin, isn't it?
Probably.
It could be a Griffin.
It could be, but
could be a Packard.
The Merlin is the most famous aero engine of all, right?
Yeah, incredible plane, engine, and Used in so many different aircraft,
Yeah.
not just the Spitfire, the Lancaster, the Mosquito.
Fairy
Hurricane.
Battle,
Yeah,
the Defiant.
Let's just don't worry about that.
But this is one here.
Yeah, this is a Merlin 3, so a number of different marks. There's Merlin 60, for example.
With the supercharger, right?
Yeah, this is the supercharger at the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the supercharger on this. And you know, when you look at it, you just think, God, it's just such a sophisticated piece of kit. It's just absolutely incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the truth is, I'm no engineer.
No, I mean,
I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, I've watched you change the wheel on a Citroen at speed, but I think that's probably the extent of it, right?
Yeah, I can sort of, I'd sort of know my way a little bit around the carburettor, but that's as far as it goes on a very simple engine, not something as complex than that. What we really need to do is speak to someone who does know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And that, of course, is Richard Grace.
Yeah, who knows these engines inside out?
Intimately.
So this is a Rolls-Royce Merlin. It's a 27.5 litre V12 supercharged aero engine built by the Rolls-Royce company. It was the most widely used aero engine during World War II, powering the majority of wartime Spitfires. In my opinion, the best thing about a Merlin is how phenomenally easy it is to work on. Every element of it is relatively accessible to the point if you need to change anything, you can. Whereas some of the aero engines that have got a fantastic reputation for being reliable, like the large radial engines, actually, if you need to change something on it, it can sometimes take days, whereas you can do just about everything on a Merlin in a few hours. Carburettor goes up into the supercharger here. This round thing here is the supercharger. That increases the density of the air, the induction air and fuel mixture, shoots it through here, which is the induction trunking, and into the cylinder banks, which is here. Coming around further, starter motor down here. This is where the hand cranking handle would have gone in, but we don't use those anymore, funnily enough. Magneto, it runs a dual ignition system as all aero engines do, so fundamentally it's got 2 spark plugs per cylinder, one on the inlet side and one on the exhaust side. Coming around, we've got ignition harness, spark plugs. This is where the exhausts would mount to. There's the pressure relief valve for regulating the oil pressure. This is then the reduction gear. We call it that because the crankshaft is actually down here, and then it turns a large gear at the front, which then turns another gear that turns this shaft that the propeller attaches to. So the propeller RPM is actually reduced from the crankshaft RPM. This is the mounting for the coolant tank, obviously a water-cooled engine. And then coming further around here, we've got a mounting for a generator, and then a couple of oil filters right down the bottom here, and then the other magneto for the dual ignition system. That's where the fuel pump would inherently go. And that's about it. So the main development, or the main useful development from a pilot perspective, other than supercharger changes to enable the aircraft to be more effective at higher altitudes, was a change from the float carburettor, which is what this is, an AVT40, to the 8D44 injector carburettor. It had a little thing very well known, Miss Schilling's orifice, which fundamentally was just a restrictor that when you turn the aeroplane upside down and then wish to keep flying upside down, i.e. subjecting the engine to negative G, the restrictor just stopped the fuel all rushing into the carburettor and just flooding the engine with fuel, which is exactly what happens with this float carburettor. If you turn the aeroplane upside down and fly along upside down, a lot of black smoke comes out the sides, and both pilots sort of tend to start laughing, and one of them cries, one of them laughs. Whereas with an injector carburettor, it doesn't do that. Now, the issue that they didn't resolve, that where the ME109, which is fundamentally what it was designed to combat, the ME109 has a full direct port injection system and also an inverted oil feed, so the aeroplane can fly along upside down indefinitely. Whereas a Spitfire, they were really putting out fires, so they were solving a problem very quickly, which was just to enable the aeroplane to be able to be pushed over or fly along upside down, albeit briefly, because it never had an inverted oil system. So the second you turn it upside down, it's got no oil pressure. So if you do that for 20 seconds, chances are your poor little engine is going to have coughed its last breath.
we go.
Okay, Al, you're airborne in a genuine, not a rebuild, but a genuine 1944 Spitfire. Give or take the odd cockpit. Right, keep your hand on the control column then, sir. It's all yours. You have control, Al.
I have control. Very gentle, isn't it?
Yeah, right, very sensitive.
Yeah.
Build up a bit of energy.
Whoa.
There we go, and now pull the nose up again, so we'll put some G on the aeroplane.
Okay.
There we go.
Amazing.
Isn't it lovely?
It's gorgeous.
Once you get used to it, I say you're just going to gently think about pointing the aircraft.
Yeah.
Rather than physically flying it, you're just going to point it the way you want to go.
Yeah, where you're looking. Yeah.
That's it. It's a fine judge of an aircraft is when you can actually formate on it very easily. But so the control movements are very small and respond. You know, the aircraft responds well.
But also, it makes you realise just how completely pointless those 6 attack formations were.
Absolutely.
At the start of the war, because all you're doing is concentrating on this.
Because that's right. You know, the VIG stuff they did where, you know, stick to me like glue, Simon. It's pointless. The guy has no tactical use at all. If all he's doing is looking at you.
Yep.
Whereas if you fly the loose deuce or the finger four as the Germans did, you know, tactically he can actually clear the airspace behind his leader's tail. At the moment, I wouldn't see anybody until they were virtually parked on my tail, so it's just tactically useless. Let's go find some airspace to play in.
What makes this Spitfire so good? The fundamentals are all absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And the remarkable thing about it is that you can upgrade it. You can make 26 different marks in all. You know, the fundamentals are the same. And what's really interesting about the design team is always known as R.J. Mitchell's Spitfire, but actually R.J. Mitchell he was involved in it, and you know, he's the chief designer, so it bears his name. But actually, Supermarine is an absolute team effort. So different people doing the wings, different people doing other parts of it. It really is a kind of it's a collaboration rather than just one man's genius.
And then they're bought by Vickers, who are the biggest arms manufacturer in the world at the time.
Yes.
Swallowed up by Vickers Armstrong, and who are basically the British military industrial complex.
Yes.
So they pour money into it, they pour resources into it, and they basically bet on the airframe being good for another 5 years or something. And that's why it goes all the way through the war, and that's why they're upgrading it, and rather than at some point going, actually, you know what, we need to find something else.
And this is what air combat is all about. It's energy transference.
Yeah.
Keep the nose down. Let's build in some speed. We'll do a wing over to the left. 210, 220. Okay, full wing, pull up. Keep the wings level to start with. Keep pulling up, keep pulling up, keep pulling up, keep pulling up. Now start to roll to the left, whilst continuing to pull back. 90 degrees of bank. Hold it there. No more bank. Hold the back pressure. Look at your wingtip. You're turning on a fixed bit there.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
There you go, and you hold it down, and once you've turned to 180 degrees, you roll the wings level. And you've done a wing over.
And she flies you out of it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that's what I say, air combat, despite what you see from Hollywood movies where you've got aeroplanes doing flick rolls and loops and all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with that. Combat is all about energy management.
Yeah.
And being able to turn the aircraft most efficiently to get behind the guy you can see on the other side of the circle.
Yeah.
So the name of the game is to get your lift vector with the 1.90 degrees to the wing and point the lift vector at the bad guy and then pull. Yeah. And ideally you can pull a tighter radius than the other guy.
Yeah.
And the other thing you can do to stop yourself getting flushed out in front of the bad guy is the classic barrel roll. So on this occasion we're going to pin ourselves on a throttle from 90 just to appear beneath us, but because we've got the height advantage, we're now going to start accelerating past him. So this time he's on our right hand side. I'm going to do a barrel roll, what's called a displacement roll. So we put the G on the aeroplane, and by pulling the nose up and rolling, we keep him on sight ahead of the right hand wing, but again we're not getting flushed out in front of him.
Yeah.
He's still ahead of us, he's below the nose.
Yeah.
There he is, we've slowed right down, but we've retained our energy.
Yeah.
Roll out behind the bastard and give him
what for?
give him the full 9 yards.
Yeah.
So all these aerobatic manoeuvres are great fun to do, but they do have some kind of application.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing about this wing, it's huge, it's elliptical, but it's also really, really thin.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for putting Browning machine guns in because they're quite small.
Yeah.
But the moment you kind of think, actually what we want is a bit more kind of punch, we want a cannon, it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
So they're just about to scrap the whole thing, and then they think, hang on a minute. Joe Smith, who's comes up with this idea, says, let's do a little teardrop, and that's what that was.
Yeah, a little
and that
blister.
can house a little blister, and that can house the kind of slightly bigger cannon breech.
Yeah.
And so it'll work. But the interesting thing is, had they started with cannons, you'd never have this wing in the first place. It's designed for Browning machine guns.
Yeah. Which are wholly inadequate for the job.
Wholly inadequate. A report in 1926 said, do not under any circumstances put a Browning .303 machine gun in a fighter plane. It's like fighting with a pea shooter.
Okay, James, you see that big cauliflower on the left-hand side? Just level off, lower the nose down again. We'll build up a bit of speed and we'll go around the outside of it with the cumulus cloud on our left.
Lovely. Wow, look at that. Isn't that amazing?
And we're going to do a kind of a back turn around the outside of this cumulus cloud. And you can fly as close to it as you like. Right, go on, let's back to the left.
Back to left.
Yeah, let's go around this one. Nice. Is that lovely?
Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. Totally gorgeous.
I told them that the passengers when we keep flying, they would turn up on a blue sky day. They go, oh, it's such a lovely day for flying, and I don't dare tell them. What you need is this. How are you feeling?
Great.
All good?
Great.
Right, should we do a Cuban Eight then? So the Cuban Eight, again, has some tactical significance. It's a way of turning the aeroplane round whilst retaining your engine. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive in. We're going to do about 260 knots.
Yep.
And when we get 5/8 the way around the loop, we're going to roll the aircraft the right way up. Okay, here we go. So again, we're diving down, we're changing potential energy to kinetic energy. All clear ahead. Okay, now pulling up as if we're going to do a loop. About 3G.
Yep.
Up we go, so we're going to the vertical at about 200 knots.
Yep.
We're going to keep the pull on, we're going to do a little bit of a gentle pull over the top, about a 90 knots over the top.
Wow.
And now we're going to roll the aeroplane the right way up.
Yeah. Got it.
And we've changed this direction to 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Right, okay, stay in control. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to increase the power. I'm going to want you to raise the nose till it's about 3 or 4 centimeters higher than our present attitude, okay? So here comes the power. Raise the nose. Hold it there. And just hold it there and we'll climb.
Wowza. Unbelievable. Just fantastic,
Grab temperature's looking good, oil pressure's good, all looking good.